One of the more One of the more surprising things for me has been exactly how impactful Bartholomew Kuma's flashback would turn out. Kuma, the Tyrant King, whose tragic past has been drip-fed to us, the viewers, has been nothing short of an enigma since his initial appearance, which started off as a Terminator-like clergyman who has been a benefactor to the Straw Hats, to what I'd like to call the prototype Joyboy. A man born into tragedy, along with every conceivable way to surrender to despair, finds the light in himself and shares that very light with whoever may need it. Bartholomew the Tyrant King Kuma is the hero the world needed. All things considered, Kuma was born into a relatively normal family, a clerical family, whose only hope for their newborn child was to be happy and healthy. These times of joyfulness and delight were cut frighteningly short when Kuma's birth records indicated that he's from a special race of people, a condemned race of people. To no fault of his own, nor his parents, nor their parents, they have been vilified, abducted, and mercilessly brutalized due to the lineage of Kuma and his father, Clap. Throughout his early tragedies, the first of many to come, and the passing of his mother, Kuma is told about the sun god Nika, the warrior of liberation whose tales and exploits were passed down for an untold amount of generations within the Buccaneers, Kuma's special race. The story of Nika initially grants Kuma brief levity, a light in the darkness, until, like everything else in Kuma's life that has brought him peace and a sense of home, is prematurely snuffed out as his father is killed right in front of him. The message and mission of Joyboy, however, still lives in Kuma, and he has made that very mission, the task of liberation, his own. Kuma, in seeking freedom, eventually finds allies who share that same yearning along with the power to make it a reality. Kuma makes his stand against Saturn and declares his new ideology proudly, that no one is born a slave, and with his new powers he will be the very Joyboy that he has been waiting for, and he will lead everyone to liberation, which he does. Kuma is a descendant of the Buccaneers, an offshoot of the Giants. This has granted him a large disposition. There we go. Okay, let me start over. Kuma is a descendant of the Buccaneers, an offshoot of the Giants. This has granted him a large disposition. Kuma is descendant of the Buccaneers, an offshoot of the Giants. This has granted him a large disposition, Oh
my goodness. I can't take it anymore. Eating a burger with no honey mustard.
Kuma is descendant of the Buccaneers, an offshoot of the Giants. This has granted him a large disposition, the shoulders to carry the burdens of others, a strong and unflinching physique to take in the pain of others, and his newfound paw powers, the power to repel and remove, quite literally absolving. Kuma has not only become a hero, but a holy figure, a priest who works miracles, healing the sick and injured, but to his own detriment. In becoming the warrior of liberation, he has at the same time condemned himself to further suffering and strife. But at the end of it all, who will save Kuma? Who else but the actual manifested warrior of liberation? Kuma's adult life would prove to be more mired in tragedy than anyone could possibly imagine, but despite it all, he still continues to wear the brightest of smiles and spread joy as much as he can. That very smile and trademark perseverance has been a recurring staple of the mysterious D-Clan, the supposed devils of the One Piece world. There have been a few characters who, due to certain specific characteristics, have been speculated to carry the hidden initial D. And with recent truths coming to light, it would be revealed that the D initial isn't something that can only be passed down through families, but even allies and friends, which led to the conclusion that by now or some point, Kuma will be a carrier of the secret initial, the Will of D. The D-Clan, those with a checkered fate, have all seemed to live lives of duality, that being a life of the most debilitating lows and the highs that could only be dreamt of, along with the convictions to make those dreams reality. Those of the D-Clan give everything for their ideals, leaving no room for remorse, often at the expense of their own well-being and lives. But throughout all of this, they never lose their heart and ideals, but if they do, it only aims to make them stronger. No character better exemplifies this than Monkey D. Luffy, and as an extension, Bartholomew D. Kuma. At current, the reason as to why Luffy was sent to Amazon Lily as a result of Kuma's power is a mystery, but it is here we see somewhat of a parallel between the previously mentioned characters and how they deal with both limiting and giving up their freedom altogether in order to save someone with the petrification. In Luffy's case, we see a more direct example of petrification, with his new friends being the victims, and the way this issue was resolved was for Luffy to make a deal with the Snake Princess, his captivity for their lives, which Luffy without hesitation agrees. This action would be the first of many that served to be in Luffy's favor not too long after. This is reflected in Kuma and Bonnie's situation, which in itself is far more extreme in its conclusion, that being Kuma having to forego his autonomy in hopes of reversing his daughter's illness, a disease form of petrification which claimed her mother, Ginny. To facilitate this, Kuma deals with Saint Saturn Garcia, one of the leading figures governing the entire world, a devil, effectively making the same deal as Luffy, even with a smile with no regard to themselves. To even further get this point across, an epithet of Boa Hancock is the Snake Princess, with snakes being biblically represented as bringers of deception and to be more closely related to the actual devil. And this is the part where I ran out of writing, so all in all, I do believe that Kuma, either by his own giving or it's always been there, either way, I do believe that he is a carrier of the will of D. The way he acts, the way he continues to smile, even through the hardest of pains, he smiles. To the point where he would rather give himself up than to let go of something important to him, his daughter, and just about do anything for it. I'm not gonna say much else because I don't know what else to say. I thought this was more, but I'm proud that I did it, so that'll be that, I think. When and if and when this Kuma thing turns out to be true, I'll be pretty proud of myself. I am kind of proud of myself for just writing this, honestly. I see now where I can improve, and so next time I do this, it's going to be a little bit better. And that's the goal, self-improvement, so. Here's to finishing the video, here's to finishing the audio, and editing it, and I did it, so nice. Goodbye.